first installment of the Susie Report podcast this week. Did you see that, JC?
Oh, I watched every minute of it. I even watched 5 minutes before it. It was great. What a great broadcast.
I tell you what, if you missed it, it's definitely worth going back out there and checking it out. It's on the SusieReport.com and or actually on his Facebook page. And I tell you what, guys, it was kind of a soft announcement on it. We didn't do anything super big to announce it, but we had 200 people watching live within a matter of a couple minutes, and we've had over 4,300 people went back and viewed it. Definitely something to watch. It was great. We got down to the depths, the details about the Joyce Beatty incident that happened right here in Columbus when she took the swipe at the officers, and it was good. We had pictures up there. I'm going to see if I can actually throw a picture up here. If you're watching on Facebook here, I'll show you a little bit of what we had done. But it was definitely worth watching. And this Thursday at 5 again, we're going to tackle another topic. So definitely worth going out there and checking it out. Did you see it at all, Papa?
No, did not.
You did not see it?
Nope.
All right. Well, you just missed it, or you just declined to watch it, or what?
No, I get busy doing stuff around the store here, Eric.
It was at 5 o'clock.
Well, I'm still doing stuff around the store. Can you turn up my volume a little bit so I can hear myself?
All right.
There you testing,
go.
1, 2.
Well, we are the owners of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, interactive law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, has always been to bring you facts about our industry and ultimately help our listeners and our customers with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. 1 month from today, guys, 1 month from today, maybe we'll start to get a little more sanity back to this world and get beyond this election that is coming up. Can you believe it's just 1 month away, Papa?
Wow.
I'll tell you, I'm so fed up with politics and politicians. I don't like to listen to any news. I don't follow. Well, I do follow a lot of it, but I don't listen to the news because it's so one-sided, depending on which stations you listen to.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. Today at 12:30, we're going to actually get back to a little talk about firearms and accessories, and we're going to do our annual fall and winter holster review, which is actually very pertinent right now since we've had so many CCW holders coming through in the past month. JC, I looked up the numbers. Listen to this, Paul. I don't think you heard this. So from last year, January through October, so same time period in 2019, we had about 250 people that we taught for concealed carry. Mm-hmm. Okay, This year is pushing 550 people.
Wow.
Over twice as many people.
We can say over 100% increase.
Over 100% increase. Yeah. And that's just not us. I mean, that is nationwide, statewide. And so there is a lot more people out there carrying concealed, which is a great thing. And they're doing it the right way. They're getting their license. And today we're going to talk about holsters because, as you say, the second most important thing after you get the right firearm to fit you is finding the right holster to carry it in.
Yeah, I think Jet's going to get a holster.
Yeah, we probably have one for him.
Yeah, it goes right onto his leash and his harness. Yeah,
that's right. Right, and Papa being the holster expert is always a benefit when you come here, right?
Well, sure.
So we're going to start that at 12:30. Before that, we have a bunch of news, just all kinds of stuff going on out there. JC, some good, some not so good, but it's definitely worth getting to. We'd like to thank our sponsors, TTG Technologies, Jackson Lawn Care and Egress Windows, Black Wing Shooting Centers, River's Edge Cutlery, CNS Engraving, Clean Water Systems, and LAPD Training Facility, all who make the show possible each week. Joining me today in the LAPD studios, JC is on the live line once again. JC, did you see the governor signed that 614 bill we talked about last week? He actually signed it into law this week, I believe.
Yeah, and it was. We talked about it last week. I assumed that this would happen. It was unanimous in one of the House. I think only 2 people voted against it. And they put it in as an emergency bill, which means it takes effect immediately. It covers all CCW holders that your license is good through June the 30th of 2020. For those who can't, there are long lines at some of the counties. Some of the counties cut down their hours due to the COVID. So It's good for all of us. And during this emergency period, you can go to any county and get your license renewed. You don't have to be in one of the contiguous counties or the county in which you live in. Any Ohio county will do. So, and our hats off again to Buckeye Firearms. They're the ones who really have been pursuing this and pushing it through. So, got to give kudos to those guys.
Yeah, definitely a good thing, and it's something that kind of eases the pressure a little bit, because I know a lot of people were having a hard time getting into certain counties around the state to get those renewed. So that's good. Big Ed is not here with us, absent again today. Popo, make a note of that, please.
It's been duly noted, and he's back on probation.
He was never off.
Well, he thought he was off.
Right. Yeah. So because of that, our Facebook feed is up and running, but we're unfortunately not going to have anyone responding to you real time like we do, because he's off somewhere, anywhere but here. I'm not sure where he's at.
I hope he's listening.
Well, I hope he is too.
Yeah, because we're going to say a lot of bad things about him probably today. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep. So. He is not here, but he will be back next week. My father, co-owner, sits to my left. Papa, did you see, I don't know if you noticed or not, we talked last week about we were going to get in some, it's funny because, I never thought we'd talk about how excited it is to get in a couple AR pistols and stuff, but anytime we get in any amount of inventory, we all get excited around here. And we got in, I think, 15 AR pistols this week, double stars. They're beautiful.
And they probably won't last very long, will they?
No, they probably won't, but they're here right now. And for those law enforcement officers, first responders, and alike out there, we got in a bunch of ARs too that are to be sold specifically to that group. It's a deal with FN. So Smith & Wesson.
So then I don't have to bring in my big cache of firearms to help stock our shelves or anything. Right?
Not yet. And speaking of big cache of things, we actually, and I hesitate even talking about this because we're going to get an immediate line out the door, but we were actually able to secure a little bit of ammo.
Well, I saw that.
And it arrived this week, and as I told some of the guys around here, I wasn't happy with what I had to do to get it, but it is here.
Yeah, sell your soul, didn't you?
We'll have to worry about that some other day. But the end result is we are back to selling a box of handgun caliber ammunition for the range. And if you walk in off the street, you can buy a box of 9mm at the moment. So just let you know that the prices aren't very good, but it is what it is.
Hey,
and it's,
I got just one housekeeping issue to bring up that we didn't get out last show. We were talking briefly about Dave Yost and wanting to license the police, and we couldn't figure out what the heck was he thinking about. And then near the end of the show, we got a text from our very close contacts there in the office, and it sounds like that he wants to license the police as they do doctors and lawyers and things like that, so that I guess the state then can pull the license when there's a bad officer. Something like that.
So there is some validity to it. Or
it's just that the article really didn't explain that very closely, I don't think. And so I wanted to update on that because, we definitely do not want to give out false information.
Right. And as, as we said before, it was the Dispatch headlines that probably implied some of that as well. If you missed the show, you can always catch the podcast. It's at 610wtvn.com. It's on iHeartRadio. It's on iTunes. It's on Google Podcasts. It's everywhere. It's a great place to download it later on. Facebook Live is also a neat place to watch the show live. And actually, we're going to start stepping this up a little bit. You'll start to see some more graphics within the show. And so we'll hopefully take it to the next level.
This is right up your alley, isn't it, Eric?
Oh, it is.
Right up your alley.
We just need another person. I might have to have someone sitting here running it.
We need a dedicated person here on the electronics. Because obviously we don't know what we're doing.
That's right. We're already getting hate texts from the Big Ed fan club saying we better be nice and not talk bad about him. Looks like Cardell Jones also checked in out there on Facebook.
Really?
So all kinds of people out there watching. So JC, let's get to the news of the day. You have anything exciting going on out there?
Don't have anything exciting. We could do 2 hours on the news, but I do want to give Eric. I don't. It's at Thursday. Is at 5:00 is when the Susie Report is being podcast. Correct?
That is correct. It's Thursday at 5:00. Okay. It's live right from our studios, and then it will reside out there on the Susu Report Facebook page, and then
Let's see their catalogs, but they bought Remington's Tapco brand. So they're known for parts and triggers for any of the AK stuff that comes in. That's to be 10% of anything that comes in overseas, 10% American. And Tapco triggers and things are a huge part of that. And so Sportsman's Warehouse now owns that. But the factory in Ilion, New York, Round Hill Group, now owns that. And so there you have it. So to me, it's a sad day. That company, it's been around years, I believe, and it's a sad time. But that's big news for Remington. But we hope that the firearms will keep on coming through. And in this market, we want everyone to make as much as they can. We need it. All right. Other news. This will be interesting to me. It was, but they ended up arresting the person who shot the two deputies in L.A. If you remember that, the guy just walked up, fired through their window, shot both of them in the head and the body, and ran away. His name is Deontay Murray, and he was already in police custody. But he was arrested for the ambush shooting of the two sheriff's deputies on September 12th. They were charging him with attempted murder and possession of a firearm by a felon because he is an ex-convict.
Well, that's surprising. That is surprising.
What a surprise.
Jay, see, he was prohibited from having a gun. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
how
if
about
we
that?
if
Yeah,
we just had laws to prevent that,
You know what? We should have a
Yeah.
law out there preventing murder. I mean, maybe that
Yeah.
would do
Well,
it.
Yeah. Wait a
Well,
minute, Eric.
what's
We do.
interesting.
We do.
Why he was in jail? Because he was previously arrested 3 days after the deputies were shot in connection with a carjacking and a shooting. He walked up, he shot a man in the leg with a rifle, and then stole his black Mercedes-Benz. And during the car chase, when the police were pursuing him in that crime, he tossed a gun out the window. And lo and behold, when ballistics checked it, it happened to be the same gun that was used to shoot the two deputies. And then when they reviewed the films where the two deputies were shot and the man ran away, he was seen jumping into the black Mercedes that he had stolen so previously.
These guys are just not smart.
Anyway.
They're just not smart.
Fortunately
And
for us.
Fortunately for us,
But they
they're just
caught him.
not smart. Yeah.
We caught him, and the deputies are recovering, and they're out of the hospital and home. So we
great.
Godspeed to them.
Great.
Hey, JC, before we got about 45 seconds here, talk about, wasn't there some L.A. ordinance that the NRA
this
was.
is good.
Yeah.
Right. This is good. So I imagine it hurt them. We talked about this, Eric. I bet it hurt them to write this check. But the city of Los Angeles has to write a check for $150,000 to the NRA.
Wow.
I love it. What happened was the Los Angeles decided they hated the NRA, and they actually put an ordinance in saying that they wouldn't give business to any contractor for any work in the entire city of Los Angeles if they had any employees that were members of the NRA. Do you believe that? So, of course, the NRA filed immediately. This occurred back in April, I think, of 19. And sure enough, a federal judge says that this goes against the First Amendment rights of free speech and the right to associate. And so they had to pay they had already retracted the ordinance, but they had to pay $150 to the NRA for $150,000 for court costs. So I thought that was good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, JC, when we come back, we're going to get to a couple callers that are on hold, and maybe one of these callers will talk about, there's a big Trump rally going around 270 right now that we're hearing a lot of hundreds of cars going around. And so if you're out there in that, we'd love to hear from you as well. We're at 614-821-9886 is the number. We're on target, broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
This is what.
Hey, Em.
Yes.
Okay, so we got two on hold.
Yes.
Okay. So,
None of them Ed, unless one of them's lying to me.
okay. All right.
Maria, Ed,
So Maria and then Drew.
Drew, yes.
Yep.
And you have about 1 minute and 20 seconds to weather.
1 minute and 20 seconds. All right. Papa has pictures of the going around 272. Hey, what temperature is it? Cold? Darn cold?
55.
Oh,
It's
not bad.
Emily weather.
Oh, yes. Is our sound all right, Em?
Yep, you're great. Keep it that way.
All
Please.
right. We have two callers, Papa, when we come back.
Hey, Robbie. Come around. Loop around there, and it is right back behind the holster, sir. Pass this on to Sean. You were talking about the heat in the.
Your ABC6 first warning weather for today. A mix of sun and clouds, dry and cool, high of 61. Tonight, mostly cloudy, not as cold, low of 48. For Sunday, mostly cloudy with afternoon showers, likely high of 63. It is a very nice 55 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610, WTVN.
Your station for news, traffic, and weather. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Papa, was that your choice?
don't think so.
Little Eddie Money?
No,
that's
it's not my
That's not
choice.
your Eddie Money? I want to go back.
Nope.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric. Joined today in the LEPD studios, my father, co-owner Phil. He sits to my left. JC is on the phone with us. Big Ed is not here today, but he will be back next week. Let's jump right to a couple callers who have called in. Maria, you are on with On Target. How are you?
Hi, guys. This is the fastest hour in radio, I think.
I know it. I know. I tell you what, when we did the podcast on Thursday without commercials and so forth, you really felt like you could get information out. It's so tough with the hour being so short.
Yeah, well, I wanted to let you know I am on the southern end of 270, and we've got traffic completely stopped up down here. Semis rolling by, honking their horns. I think we have 2 lanes full of Trump supporters, and
Wow.
it's just fantastic.
Wow.
And another thing, I just wanted to give a shout out to law enforcement and how much we all appreciate them, and we're in this for them. And just love you guys, and keep up the good work.
Thanks so much, Maria. We were looking for a kind of a call from out there and stuff.
Yeah,
we're getting
and-
some pictures too now.
Yeah, and look, if you come in, we'll give you an autograph from the people here behind the mic. Yeah.
No, we want people to come in the store, Papa.
And we won't even charge.
Thanks for the call, Maria. Be safe out there. That's good to know. I can't wait to see more pictures. Let's jump to Drew. Drew, you're on with On Target. How are you?
Hey, Eric, how are you doing?
Good.
Hey, I was unaware that they had caught that guy down in L.A. Glad to hear it, though. But I wanted to say something that doesn't tend to get talked about much. When the left talks about outlawing weapons and they're going to get control of it, who do you think's going to have the guns? It's going to be the outlaws. If you outlaw guns, only outlaws are going to have guns. They're the ones that are going to take them by any means whatsoever. They have to get it, even though they're the worst ones out there to have them. They'll always get them. And so I've got the back of every cop. I talk to them. I encourage them. It's just amazing, what the media does for the left.
It's incredible, Drew, and you're absolutely right. We've said it so many times on the show that the law-abiding people, that's the only people the laws apply to. I mean, if they banned, we've had numerous callers call in and say, hey, if they banned XYZ today, I'm going to do the right thing and turn that in or get rid of it, like the bump stock or whatever the case may be. But the bad guys, by nature, don't obey the law, and I don't understand why that side of the spectrum doesn't see it. And you're also talking about, it's a great lead-in for next week, we're going to be talking about the Uniform Crime Report. It finally came out for 2019. And when you look at the stats, and it's the same thing year after year, they don't support the narrative. The evil black rifle isn't so evil when you start looking at the stats. And, when more people die by hands, fists, and feet than all rifles every year, it has to make you stand back and say, wait a second, what are they preaching? But I absolutely agree with you, and you're right on.
I'd like for you guys to, maybe mention it once a week whenever you guys are on, whenever something like this comes up. When an outlaw does something wrong, they were banned from having a weapon, but they got their hands on one. If weapons are outlaws, outlaws will have weapons.
We
the
say
good
that
people won't, because they're.
We say that all the time.
Yep.
We say that all the time,
Good.
and it's so obvious. And the politicians, they just like to ignore it.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Oh
Hey,
man, you're dead on. You're dead on. I really appreciate the show, you guys. Thanks.
all right, thanks so much for calling, Drew. Guys, we're almost at the bottom of the hour break. I'm going to tell a quick story, though. JC, I told you this off air. We got a call this week, and we're getting flooded with calls from, ammo, or you have this or that, and we had 2 calls this week that were kind of peculiar. I had one. It was a message on my machine, and it was from a gentleman, and he said he took a class here, loved it. He's looking for a place to shoot long term, and was concerned about some reviews that were left out there on Google or Facebook, and wanted to talk to someone about that. Then he goes on to say, get this, Papa, he goes on to say he's a professor at a local university, and he has been in here before, seen some people supporting some President Trump hats or masks and so forth, and he says he's an African-American man. He just wants to make sure that he is welcome here. And I listened to that, and I thought, that is so crazy that's where it's come to, that people, that's even crossing their mind. I mean, it doesn't even cross my mind. when people are in here, I mean, we service everyone. It doesn't even, we're colorblind when that comes, when people come in. I don't, it's just incredible that that's what it's gotten down to. Now, me being kind of the smart aleck that I am, I called him back and I said, hey, Professor, we stopped allowing, African Americans on the range a couple months ago. So, we did it in a joking way, but it's just, seriously, that was a question.
It's really disappointing when people assume our position and how we do things. We have never. We're not racist. We've been in law enforcement. You and I, Eric, probably collective about
40-some years.
Oh, more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's just crazy that's where we're at right now. We can't wait to get back to some normalcy. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about holsters, talk about normalcy. We're going to talk about holsters for winter carry. We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break. You there, Em?
Yep.
All right. We still coming through all right?
Yep. I am going to have to go potty when you come back because I cannot hold it in any longer.
All right.
So I hope all your Facebook fans know that too.
All right. They've been asking.
I'm sure. Is that okay?
Yeah, he's just he's on a trip or something, I think. He'll probably be trying to call.
Nice to him. He's the head of my security when I'm famous.
I know. We are nice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so far, I don't know why.
So far what?
Oh, I was talking to Denise here. We had a little blurb on the Facebook thing again. What do you think about 2 minutes, Em, until we're back?
1 minute and 30 seconds.
Oh, really? Seriously? I'm playing around with the Facebook stuff here.
That's Piper next door. That's a lovable dog.
Probably they were, Jen on Facebook said that there was even a private helicopter flying around 270 with a Trump something hanging from it.
Boy, that's got to be organized.
Guess you're just going to have to go drive 270.
I know.
See what I made out, Cook?
Oh, those look nice. Did he like them?
Yeah, he's really appreciative.
And that was your correct song, right, Eric?
Yeah, it was. It's perfect. I didn't let it play out.
Live from LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LEPD studio. That's at 999 Bethel Road, just west of 315, with my father and co-owner. He sits to my left. JC is on the live line with us, and Big Ed is not here, but I'm sure he's here in spirit. He's taking a vacation day. How do you take a vacation days are for days in between days of work. And if you don't work, how do you get a vacation? Every day's a vacation for him. I don't get that. I hope he's listening. So guys, if you're one of the thousands of new CCW holders who decided it was time to prepare yourself and make sure that you and your family, are going to be prepared in that time of crisis and need, or if you're one of the CCW holders who have had a concealed carry for a long time, and it is the fall and winter months, and you're ready to to look into to change your holsters, this segment is going to be for you. All gun owners who carry a firearm, they'll tell you that after deciding on what firearm is right, the next thing that can be a challenge is what holster to carry. And that is something that we strive on here. And we have so many holsters. And today we're going to talk about a little bit of the common holsters, a little bit about how to carry in the fall and winter months, and kind of get you right on the right path. But certainly coming in and seeing it for yourself is going to be what you need to do. And you'll be like the rest of us, and you'll end up with a whole box of holsters that you have for different days of the week and different seasons and so forth. But before we start, I always like to put in my 2 cents, and this is just an opinion. But, we talk about concealed carry versus open carry. And we are definitely proponents of exercising your constitutional rights, and open carrying is that right. But it's not a very good tactical move to walk into Walmart and have your firearm exposed.
It's not a good idea.
It's just not a good in regards to tactics. I mean, if someone were to come in there to do harm in that scenario, they know who to take out first is the guy with the gun on his hip versus someone who has it concealed and may be overlooked by the bad guy. So that's just our 2 cents on that. It's certainly your right. You are going to draw attention to yourself, and it might not be the attention that you want to draw when you're trying to protect yourself. Beyond that, wintertime is really one of the easier times, the winter and the fall, to carry concealed, because it gives you the opportunity to carry something a little bit bigger, and it gives you the opportunity to conceal it a little bit better. You have a jacket on, you have a sweatshirt on. It's certainly easier to conceal it versus summertime when your clothing attire is so much less. So also a consideration during this time is accessibility. Carrying it is one thing, but what do you have to do to be able to get to it? And if you have to, take off your sweatshirt and untuck a shirt and just to get to it, it is something that is a consideration. So let's start, Pawpaw. Pawpaw and JC, with the traditional belt or paddle holster. These are ones that have been around for a long time. They really haven't changed all that much. What Pawpaw, you have an insight into that?
Well, I have
old pancake holster.
I have a preference. First of all, I like leather. I like the way it squeaks, Eric. But this goes way back to my
joints.
This goes way back to my cowboy days,
Right.
But I like leather, and I also like the pancake holster. That now the ones we have, DeSantis, they have a couple different loops on them, so that you can carry it straight up and down, or you can have a little bit of a cant. But the neat thing about it is that it holds it tight to your body.
Right.
I mean, you put that on and you put a sweatshirt over it, you're not going to see any sort of, what do they call that?
Any printing.
Printing. There you go.
Right.
So I like that. I never got into the paddle ones because, to me, they stick out too far.
Right.
And not all that's well. I don't know because I never used one, but they're not that stable. It doesn't seem. Well, I guess they would be stable.
Yeah, and if you're watching on Facebook, you can see we're throwing a few pictures up there of some of our favorites. The paddle, I went through that stage at one point, and it's certainly easy on and off. The more traditional holster that we showed up there, the thumb brake, you have to wear a belt. So if you're in a situation where maybe you don't have pants on or a tire with the belt, the paddle holster can be nice to slip in and out. But I just never felt as comfortable with it as I did, with a traditional belt holster.
Something else too. There's a lot of people that come in here and they don't wear belts.
Right.
And I'm saying, how are you going to carry your gun? you don't want to put it on, or holster clip to your elastic on your gym shorts.
Especially if it's a heavier firearm. Now there is some products out there now that that allow for kind of the easy on and off like paddle holster, but it has a clip. I know 3i Holsters is one of our companies that we deal with, and they have an easy on and off clip that actually clips over your belt, but you can take it on and off without having to take your belt on and off. So there is some in betweens like that. And if you're watching on Facebook here, you can see a good example of this. And these are actually one of my favorite holsters now because you get all the advantage of having the belt holding it up, but not not having to take your belt on and off to do it. So that any thought on that, JC?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with all of that. Yeah, just so the folks listening who may not know, a paddle holster just has a kind of a plastic paddle that fits in the inside of your pants or garment with a holster on the outside. And they are bulky, but they're easy to get on and off. But the 3i option, I really, really like. The nice thing about it, and I think everyone knows this, you wear heavier clothes. So like you said, Eric, it allows you to wear a heavier gun. But it's part of this. A lot of people go, hey, I'm really comfortable with what I have now. Make sure with your gun unloaded, triple check, nothing in the chamber, that you put on your winter clothes. If you wear a parka, you may want to switch to a bomber jacket, something like that doesn't interfere with you accessing your gun. And if it's really cold weather and you need to wear gloves, make sure that if you have gloves on, you have it. If you go to try to draw, you're going to, unless you've tried it, you need thinner things. You may want to go to fingerless gloves. You may want to go to a thinner leather glove with a liner, but make sure that on a cold day that, without trying to take your gloves off in an emergency, that you can access your gun no matter where you carry it. So clothing is a really big deal. And we get some winters here and you wear heavier things. I know what I do, and I've mentioned it before. I carry 2 revolvers on my pot, one on one side, one on the other to balance out the coat, and I don't have to draw anything. I can stick my hands in my pocket and go to town.
Hey,
so,
John.
That
John.
happens to be what I do.
John,
Yeah.
what holster do you wear in the shower?
Well, it's a nude colored holster. No, I just have it hanging in the shower. It hangs up over the shower head.
Just
so
like your soap on the rope, right?
Just like your bar
like
soap.
on a rope. Yeah. So there you go. So
all right.
That's interesting. So
yep.
yeah.
So something else to consider when you're looking at those outside the waistband holsters, some of the more traditional ones, is the retention on them. So the one that we showed up there with the traditional thumb brake, it has some retention on them. There's a lot of that are open top now though, and honestly, I don't feel comfortable personally carrying that out in public. If someone sees the firearm, if I'm in a struggle, if I have to do anything that exerts some energy, and I'm not, I'm on the ground or whatever the case may be, I'm always have a little bit of a concern on whether that's going to stay holstered, which is extremely important, obviously. So I like a little retention. The Kydex holsters now have that retention. They snap in a lot of times just enough to keep it in place that it needs a decent tug to pull it out. So that's something to consider too as you're going out there and looking at the different ones. Something else too is we always recommend whenever possible to get a holster that is specific to fit your firearm. We get guys coming in and just because the gun physically goes in the holster doesn't mean it's the right holster for it. One that fits around the trigger guard, one that fits it and is meant for it is advantageous and something that you should look for. We do have, if you have one of those firearms that are a little bit unique or maybe it's not as popular as others, we do have a couple generic Kydex holsters that we love. I mean, they really fit in there. They take most guns, and they're a good go-between if you have to just use something, and we've had great luck with those as well.
ago, if you leave the firearm in the holster for a period of time, yeah, that's not good.
that's never good.
If you ever store your firearm, don't store it in your holster.
Oh, no.
Right.
And do we have time, Eric?
No, you got to say.
Okay, John, you talked about wearing something that you can access, quickly. For the permit holders out there, the concealed carry permit holders, you want to be able to access your firearm, but you're not a police officer. You're not, you shouldn't need to be drawing your weapon that quickly. Or, I mean, it's not like a police officer. When you're out there on a duty, you're a target, and at any given time, you need to have your weapon in your hand. As a concealed carry holder, you want to be able to access your firearm, but it doesn't need to be in most cases as quickly as.
And it's a good point, Papa. I mean, we see a lot of people. I mean, it's obviously you need to train with it. You need to take a class, take one of our downrange classes where you're actually drawing from the holster. I mean, you absolutely need to do that because it is different. It's a lot different than putting it on and thinking you'll be okay when you actually have to draw from it. But you're right. I mean, you would think that you can anticipate a scenario when you're going to need that firearm out. I mean, you shouldn't, in theory, you shouldn't be surprised by you're walking along and all
unless
of a sudden,
you're being mugged directly. Otherwise, you're going to be observing something that's maybe going down.
Or you're starting to see it transpire.
Yeah. Whenever we qualify police officers and we do their backup firearms or they're off duty, they need to qualify and draw that firearm from wherever they carry that weapon. If it's on an ankle holster or whatever, they need to qualify drawing it that way. But if for conceal, I mean, you can practice, but just don't get involved with things where you would be a better witness rather than being involved.
Of course, JC and Paul, real quick before we go into the break. I always like to wear my outside the waistband holsters still around that 4 o'clock position. So, noon obviously being straight ahead, 3 o'clock being on the traditional right on your hip. I like it on that 4 o'clock position because for me, it takes it off my profile. I can sit there and talk to someone.
And your arm hangs in front of it. It blocks it from view. It doesn't print as easily, and it's still pretty accessible, but it depends on your physical limitations, too.
But with
shoulder surgery,
I was going to say,
further up.
John, I was going to say for us old guys, your range of motion starts to go away, and it's hard to reach around. It's hard to reach around to get my wallet,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, that's why in the pants holsters, but you just have to be able to access them. I didn't say you want to be Quick Draw McGraw, for those of you who remember him, but you still need to be able to access it.
You're
and
right.
The thing is, you need to be able to practice it. I don't care if it's in a drawer at home by your bed. You need to be able to pull it open, get to it. And with your clothes, you need to be able to access your firearm. If you go to defend your family, and all of a sudden you got a parka on, you got to pull it up. Well, I got gloves on. I can't even put my finger in the. You're in a world of hurt. Someone may see what you're doing and decide to take you out quick. I'm just saying, practice it. Put your clothes on. Try it in the winter and just see what works for you. You may want to carry your summer rig, but for most of us, it's more comfortable for an outside the pants holster, and you can cover it effectively. So, but again, practice.
JC, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit about inside the waistband holsters, and there's a couple good ones out there now that will get you both inside and outside the waistband. So we'll talk about that. We're on Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break. You there, Em?
Yep.
I don't know why that broke up. The computer was unplugged. Was it bad?
Yeah, you'll listen.
Yeah. Was it just for a few seconds?
It was, I don't know, it was like in and out, if that makes sense. Like you could understand what you were saying, but it was still breaking up.
Wow. And that computer was not even plugged in at that point, which is usually my culprit,
No, usually you unplug it and you're good to go.
I know. It's been unplugged most of the time today. So, all right. What temperature you got there?
58.
All right. That's a nice one, Popo, because outside, you put those clips on, it's inside.
Yeah. these two, you put the gun in that it's meant to be. It's perfect fit.
It is. How much time we have there, Em?
It's showtime.
Your ABC6 first warning weather for today. A mix of sun and clouds, dry and cool, high of 61. Tonight, mostly cloudy, not as cold, low of 48. For Sunday, mostly cloudy with afternoon showers, likely high of 63. It is currently 58 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Central Ohio's news, traffic, and weather station. News Radio 610 WTVN.
See, there's enough intro there. You can talk over this, Paul. You can go ahead and speak those fine words.
But I'm trying to figure out whether that was my song, Emily.
It's his song.
It's your song.
Really? Okay, well, I have to give you an update, I think, on these songs.
Yeah, it makes me want to slow dance. I know that.
I know.
It's Baby Come Back.
Baby Come Back. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Welcome.
That was a toy, wasn't it? Baby Come Back or Baby, something like that. That was a toy one time, yeah.
Wow. Well, welcome back to LEPD Firearms and Range on Target right here at the store. We're talking about holsters today, holsters for winter carry. We talked a little bit about going into the break about traditional outside the waistband carry. And let's talk about inside the waistband carry for the next couple minutes. It's actually what I have grown to like most of the time. And when you think of inside the waistband, oftentimes you think, geez, I can't carry a big firearm that way. There's just not enough room in the elasticity of my pants and so forth. But you'll be amazed at how big of a firearm that you can carry inside the waistband with the right holster. I mean, Doug on the range, we always laugh at him, skinny guy, and he carries
a cannon.
He carries a full-size M&P 9 with a light on it, and you can't tell.
You can't tell.
So there's, certain spots around your body that are good for that. I always, again, like that 4 o'clock position, everyone has like a little gap right there where it sits naturally back there. And by the time you put it inside the waistband and put a shirt over it, or you can even tuck your shirt in sometimes, it's really concealed, Popple.
I have to mention this. I usually don't work the sales floor as much as I used to, but I am the holster expert. And so for those of you that are lucky enough to come in and I help you, I'm going to make sure that you like that holster. We have you put it on. We have you sit down, stand up, whatever, to see whether it feels comfortable. The biggest disappointment for me, Eric, and I always custom fit to people and everything, and help them even put them on and everything. The biggest disappointment was when we discontinued the bra holes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was problematic, Popo.
Problematic. Yeah.
Yes.
Are we still settling any lawsuits on that?
Everything's all done.
Okay.
We're done, and the holsters are out of the store.
All right. Okay.
It kind of was a flash in the pan. It was here and it wasn't.
Okay.
So inside the waistband holsters, there's a couple great ones. The one, Blade Tech, is a great inexpensive one. They have them for a lot of the holsters.
It just came in from Buckeye Firearms. Our good friend Steve, it's a reminder, in Ohio, the last day to register to vote is Monday. So if you haven't registered, we need every single vote because your firearms ownership may be in jeopardy.
Right. You're absolutely right, JC, and that is so important. Guys, one last thing next week. First of all, tune in Thursday, the Susie Report. It's at the Susie Report Facebook page. Jump on that and see it. Next week, we're going to talk about the 2019 FBI Uniform Crime Report.
Oh, that's good.
And you may be surprised, the evil rifle isn't so evil.
I'll be darned.
So thanks for joining with us. Be safe out there, and
be careful out there.
from the Elk and Elk Studios. If you were injured on the job, call the lawyers at Elk and Elk at 1-800-ELK Ohio. News Radio 610 WTVN.
One of the biggest issues for men over the age of 55 is erectile dysfunction. Newly introduced European technology is now available. It has been proven to be over 85% successful in treating erectile dysfunction. Medical professional and top local doctor for erectile dysfunction, Dr. Ronald Brown.
Erectile dysfunction for men of all ages has become much more common. In fact, most men don't realize that 90%
All right, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. This is Eric from OnTarget. This week, we look at the just released FBI crime report, and you may be surprised the evil assault rifle isn't as evil as you were led to believe. Tune in. Yep, let's try that one again. This might be too long. This is Eric from OnTarget. This week, we look at the just released FBI crime report, and you may be surprised the evil assault rifle isn't as evil as you were led to believe. Tune in Saturday at noon or live from LAPD Studios on Bethel Road. This is Eric from OnTarget. This week, we look at the just released FBI crime report, and you may be surprised that the evil assault rifle isn't as evil as you were led to believe. Tune in tomorrow at noon or live from LAPD Studios on Bethel Road. This is Eric from OnTarget. Today we... Oh, jeezy, Pete.
You got this.
All right, here we go. This is Eric from OnTarget. Today we look at the just released FBI crime report, and you may be surprised that the evil assault rifle isn't as evil as you were led to believe. Tune in today at noon or live from LAPD Studios on Bethel Road.
All right.
Hey, you know what, Em? It was kind of odd because, you know, you said we had a little bit of blurps in there and stuff. Our Facebook feed was